What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 193 of the Nerd Cave podcast. I am one of your hosts, Derek Diamond, joined along with the lovely and talented...
Oh, thank you. Robbie Rawls.
Robbie, how are you? I feel like it's been a couple of hours since I've seen you.
Since we recorded our wrap-up show for fantasy football at Fox Sports. So, yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, it feels like so much longer than 2 hours, though.
It has.
So how's it going?
Pretty good. Went home, was able to chillax a little bit, and then, got to come back over here and record some nerd stuff.
Yeah. Zach, unfortunately, could not be with us. As we record this, he is en route back home from Tampa. He went to All-State Honor Band.
Yep.
It's funny because long time ago, in a galaxy not so far away, we were, all three of us were in marching band. That's where we met. When I was a senior in high school, I went to the same All-State Honor Band, and it was, 7th and 8th grade, and then 9 through 12, and the 7th and 8th grade person was Zach.
Really?
Yeah. It's funny how that works out.
It is.
And he's going back years later, as a director, which is awesome. So he'll be back on the show next week. I imagine he'll be exhausted whenever he gets back. So
that's a long trip.
Yeah, so we were just like, we'll handle the show.
Yeah.
But we've got a lot of stuff to get into. Two really, really big news stories. And I'm sure the one that everyone's wanting us to talk about is the Switch.
Yeah, definitely.
The Nintendo Switch was fully unveiled this past week at I guess you'd call it a conference or a presentation. A lot of stuff was revealed about it. Met with some controversy. It was funny. The first half of it I watched on Facebook, and I was just almost laughing at some of the comments saying, "Oh, I don't like this because it's Nintendo." And I just, that to me, you have no merit in just saying because you don't like a company. I mean, if you don't like the company, why are you watching it anyway?
Yeah, a lot of people, a lot of people have been burned by Nintendo over the years with some subpar consoles coming out. The Wii. I never really got big into the Wii U, so I can't really say whether or not it was a great.
It was not.
Yeah,
it was not. I mean, I've said that on the show. It's not.
And what all gamers should be wanting is for Nintendo to do well, because if Nintendo is doing well, that means the game industry in a whole is doing well. From everything that I saw about the Switch, I liked it. I know my feed was, as I was telling you and Zach, my feed was freezing a lot, and I did not know why, so I switched to YouTube. Everything that I saw from the new Zelda game, Mario Odyssey, all these games that are coming out that I am super geeking out about that I want to play. I don't see why people are so upset. I know that it's probably going to have its issues, but can you say that Xbox One was a perfect system when it came out?
No.
No. Can you say PlayStation was a perfect? No. No console is going to be 100% perfect. And I think from the Wii and the Wii U, I think Nintendo has made a drastic leap forward with the Nintendo Switch. Who has not wanted to go home and instead of having to hold your controller up here to play, and because you're putting a lot of stress on your shoulders, you could take it off and you could just have your hands down here and you can have the two Joy-Cons, as they call it, and play like that. There's just so many ways. It's a very versatile console to me. You're able to take it wherever you want to go, because there's times when, heck, I would love to play Skyrim, but I'm in a 3-hour car drive, so I can't do it. But you can do it with the Switch.
Yeah. So. Well, we can start from the beginning. The first thing they did was they announced the release date, which is March 3rd of this year, and will be $300, which I thought was actually going to be the price. And of course, from the beginning, they were like, "Oh, it needs to be $250." Like if it were $250, you would still complain about it.
Yeah, I thought about $250 to $300 would be about right.
So I'll say some of the issues that I had about it. I don't mind the red and blue neon Joy-Cons, but to do a separate console with those, I'm not going to get them anyway, because as OCD as I am about that kind of stuff, I see them on a gray controller and it just throws me off. Yeah. So I'm going to get the gray one. I managed to get one from Amazon. I was able to pre-order one. there was like this tiny little window around 11 o'clock in the morning. I think it was Wednesday, because somebody posted on our Nerd Cave Network page. They're like, hey, pre-orders are back up on Amazon. So as soon as I saw that, I'm like, and went and got one.
Nice.
And as soon as it was done, I refreshed the page, and they were gone.
Man, you lucked out.
So I really got lucky. I'm going to try and get a hold of the Zelda Master Edition, because it comes with a lot of cool stuff. It's got the little Sheikah coin. Mm-hmm. It's got a carrying case and a Master Sword statue, which I want really badly.
The Master Sword statue looks freaking sweet.
Yes,
I want one.
Now, I know a lot of things that are something that's really bothering a lot of people is the battery life. Mm-hmm. And they were kind of vague with that, because they said, depending on the game, it could last 2.5 hours. It could last up to 6. But the one thing I'll say is kind of the silver lining is that it will come with a charging cable. Because I know so many people who will sit somewhere and they'll plug their phone into a wall and they'll use it that way. So I kind of look at it as the same thing of playing a game.
Going with the Nintendo DS, I mean, obviously it has a much better battery life than this, but it's not pulling games like an NBA 2K or a Skyrim or a Splatoon 2, by the way.
Yes.
If you're going to play a Skyrim compared to some 2D game, of course Skyrim is going to pull way more battery life. If you're thinking that, this thing's going to last 8 hours with me playing Skyrim, not realistic.
Yeah.
There's not. If anything's running off a battery, that's not going to last that long. Pulling something that massive, so you have to kind of pull back your expectations on the battery life. With it coming with a charging cable, that helps tremendously for me. Knowing that if I'm in a car, I'm sure it'll have something like a USB or something like that where you could plug it in. So when you're driving in a car, you could still use it, or you could just plug it into a wall outlet. I think that's fine. I didn't expect the battery life to be amazing on this thing anyway.
Yeah.
So,
I know several people have said that was kind of the thing that broke them. I'm really surprised at the amount of people who have said they were disappointed by it. It ranges from the cheesiness of the presentation, which Nintendo's a Japanese company.
Yeah.
That's kind of their style. It's the Eastern versus Western style of things. So I knew it was going to have that little bit of cheesiness to it. But as far as the games that were announced, Zelda was the big thing at the end, and they confirmed that it will be a launch game, which before that, they showcased Mario Odyssey, which looks amazing. Yeah. It looks like the true sequel to Mario 64, which a lot of people have been wanting for a long, long time.
Still my favorite Mario game.
It's definitely up there. But they said that it's coming this holiday. So as soon as they said that, I'm like, okay, Zelda's going to be launched.
Yeah.
There's no way it won't be. They announced a lot of stuff after the conference, though, as far as games go. And I think that was because Zach commented on that, too, about how they kept releasing so much stuff after the presentation.
And that hurt anybody that was doing, like, a reacts or trying to, put
it made mine almost irrelevant.
Yeah, and what you have to do is, you could have made your conference 10 times better by just plugging some of those things. While you're switching out, it'd be like, hey, enjoy this game that's coming out, and have like the preview go through it, or there was ways they could have gotten around that to where it wasn't just like, all right, here's this however long it was presentation, and here's a crap ton of information following.
Yeah.
So
what I would have done is towards the end of the conference, they showed a highlight video of games that were coming to the Switch.
Yeah.
What you could have done was say, like, right after they announced that Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is coming out, I think in April, you could have shown like 3 or 4 clips of Mario Kart and then have a lower third at the bottom that says Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, April whatever, and then announce a few of the games that way. So, you're announcing it during the conference, but you're also not taking up a lot of time.
Yeah.
Some other games, there was one, I think I have the title of it right here. I was talking with Derek Daniel about this, and I said the games that caught my attention the most were, number 1 was Zelda.
Yeah, definitely.
2, Mario Odyssey. 3 was Splatoon 2, which kind of looks like Splatoon 1.5, but I think that's okay.
Yeah, what they describe this as is it's a kind of like a rehaul of the first one, but it's still Splatoon. Like they fixed a lot. There was a lot of issues with Splatoon with handling and how the characters were and everything. They said that they fixed a lot of those issues. They said it's still Splatoon in essence, but it's kind of like a revamped.
Yeah.
So.
And I'm absolutely okay with that. I can't wait for you and Zach to play it.
Yeah,
whenever it comes out.
This is definitely a game that I'm on a gaming system that I'm actually going to really try to get because I've been strictly Xbox since the beginning. Not because I hate PlayStation or I hate the Wii U or anything like that. Just because, I haven't had to get them. But this is one that I'm like, I have to get because Zelda was a big part of my childhood. Mario. Big part of my childhood. So many of those things coming back in force is definitely making me want it.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm sure more things will come out over the course of the launch.
Yeah.
I will say some things that disappointed me besides one more game before I forget. This is done by Square Enix. This looks like an old Super Nintendo RPG. It was called Octopath Traveler.
Okay.
It had like a 2D side-scrolling look to it, and it looked like it was a game straight out of the Super Nintendo. I don't really know what the story's about, but I would play so many RPGs on the Super Nintendo, and I kind of got that feel when I saw the video, so I'm like, okay, I don't know when it's coming out, but that's going to be a game that I definitely get for the Switch. They also announced, third-party games like Skyrim. They showed that FIFA is going to be on the Switch, NBA 2K18. Hopefully that means that WWE, Madden, and games like that will be on it as well.
Which I think that's going to help Nintendo out is by getting these third-party games in, especially sports-driven games, because a lot of people love playing sports, and that's why they go either PlayStation or Xbox, is because they do have the better sports game. I mean, besides Wii Sports, I mean, you can't go wrong with Wii Sports. But I mean, I'm saying the more in-depth games like your FIFA, like your Madden. With them getting these games, I think that's definitely going to help them out. And I don't see how this system can't be a success. Starting off, hearing about the Switch and everything, I've been very hopeful and thinking that this could be what brings them back, and I think it does.
It could very well be possible. I know a lot of people were disappointed about, I guess, the lack of launch titles. I mean, there's Zelda, obviously, which is huge.
Yeah.
But they didn't really announce too many other games besides 1-2 Switch, which looks okay.
Yeah.
But I think that would be a game that you package with the console. This is a game, kind of like Wii Sports did with the Wii. It's a game that showcases what the system can do.
Yeah.
And plus, I think if you throw in a free game in there, a lot of people would be happier about the price point. Even though I said that I don't think $300 is that bad.
There's people who do.
Yeah, if you throw a free game in there, then I think you're like, okay, $300 sounds right.
Yeah.
There was that other game called ARMS with they had the boxing.
The boxing.
Yeah. What was cool was as you're holding the Joy-Con, you can see the fist twist like that as you're moving the Joy-Con like that as well. So that kind of took me back a little bit to the Wii Sports days. I don't know that I'll get either one of those games.
Yeah.
But they look fun to do.
And what's really cool about this game is you're seeing how the technology has gone from the Wii nunchucks to the Joy-Cons, and how it better captures of what you're doing, not only with the Joy-Con but with your hands, knowing the motions of what you're doing. Because with Wii U boxing, it was just pretty much, and now you could be, I guess, more tactful and going in with it. So I mean, I'm excited to where the technology is going with the Switch.
I am too. Now, is there anything about the conference or presentation that disappointed you?
Just in general, just vagueness that they had with a lot of their things. Like you said, with launch titles, with battery life. I mean, there wasn't too much that I was disappointed with. Because I missed, not a majority of it, but quite a bit trying to get my stuff loaded back in. But I was very excited with where they're going with things, but the biggest thing that I had an issue with was Yeah, Zelda's great, and I'm sure that they will be releasing more launch titles as it gets closer. But I wish they would have, released, told us more games that are coming out for it. That was one of my biggest issues with it, is I want to know what all I'll be getting that I can get for the Switch. I keep wanting to call it the Wii Switch, but it's not. It's the Nintendo Switch.
I agree with that, and also they didn't announce anything about pre-orders.
Yeah.
During the video. After the conference was over, they're like, oh, you can pre-order it at Amazon, Walmart, Target. Why not do that at the end of the video?
Yeah.
You end it with, and following the conclusion of this video, you'll be able to pre-order the Switch on Amazon and all these other places. Yeah. There were a lot of things that I felt like, why not even just briefly mention? I liked that they were very upfront at the beginning with when it's coming out and how much it's going to be. That was the perfect way to start it off. And they did announce some good things, but I felt like they could have done more with it.
Yeah, they definitely could have, and that's where I'm getting with the vagueness of it all. But you live and you learn, and I mean, I'm still excited for what's coming with it. So
yeah, I am too. Well, any more thoughts on the Switch?
I just can't wait to play it.
Zelda is going to be so much fun.
Looking at Zelda, how it's more not tailored to adults, but it feels like it is. Like you're seeing not this really kiddie Link anymore, and it's just like the vastness of the world. I know that Ocarina of Time and everything like that was technically open world, but this is like even more. Like it takes it to a whole nother level.
It's Zelda meets Skyrim.
Exactly, and I mean it just looks beautiful, and it's just something that I cannot wait to just dive fully into when the game comes out.
I feel like it reminds me a lot of the original Zelda game for NES, because that game was kind of open world for open world games back then, because you didn't have to do all the dungeons in order like you did with, say, Wind Waker or Ocarina of Time, or it's not as linear as those other games. And I have a feeling, and even with some of the art that they've done and recreating some of the poses and the locations from the original game. And the only issue that I have with Zelda so far is the lack of story details that they've released.
We don't know anything that's going on in this game.
I have a theory, because in the Zelda Hyrule Historia book that came out, they released the Zelda timeline. And following Ocarina of Time, it splits off into 3 different timelines. You have Link after he beats Ganon and goes back to his childhood, which is where Majora's Mask takes place. Yeah. And then you have the adult Link world that has to deal with Ganon coming back after Link has left, which is where Wind Waker goes. And then there's a third one where during the final battle in Ocarina of Time, Ganon kills Link.
Ooh.
And then the 7 sages that you rescue end up sealing him in like an alternate world. I think that this game follows that timeline, because a lot has been mentioned about resurrection. And there were lines in that last trailer that said, it's time for you to remember what happened 100 years ago.
Okay.
I'm thinking that this is the same Link from Ocarina of Time who has been resurrected to get his revenge on Ganon.
That would be sweet. Just going back to the
because a lot of the locations are familiar.
Yeah, and that would be really cool storyline to follow, and for them to have it in our faces all this time and not very many people realize it, I think that would even be something that's even cooler.
I'm really excited for it. Like, that's going to be a game that I'm going to sink so much time into. Like, this is going to be my Elder Scrolls.
Oh, I bet. It probably will be mine too, because I know me and you've talked extensively about Zelda over the years, and I just remember I sat literally one day at my aunt's house for 5 hours straight playing Zelda, and it just it immerses you into that world, and I can only imagine how much better it's going to be now.
Oh, absolutely. Any more thoughts on the Switch?
It needs to get here soon.
Well, it won't be too much longer. We've got about month and a half, maybe a little bit more than that. So you were looking up some news before we started. There's a game that got canceled. I guess it's been in development for a while.
Yeah, Microsoft came out and Platinum Games was talking about Scalebound, which is a game that so many people have been looking forward to on the Xbox, and it's the dragons and everything like that. And I was looking forward to it because it just looked cool. You have these really unique characters and these unique dragons going up against these huge bosses and everything like that. And we still, to this day, do not know why it's canceled because Platinum Games, they finally offered their own statement regarding the project. They said, unfortunately, if you're hoping for an explanation as to why Scalebound was being boxed up and buried, they did not offer any new details. What they said was, we are very disappointed things ended up this way, especially since we know many of our fans were looking forward to this game as much as we were. And that's pretty much it from Platinum Games as to... I'm hoping that later on they come out and tell us why it got canceled because, I mean, we really hadn't heard anything that was going on with Platinum Games as to, any explanation as to why the game got canceled. And, I've been talking to quite a few friends of mine who were looking forward to it, and, they hadn't heard anything either. So what's your thought on games getting canceled like this?
I mean, it's obviously always disappointing when you hear a game that gets canceled, or even a game that, is changed from what it's supposed to be. Like a story that's kind of similar to that is back a few years ago when Star Wars 1313 was supposed to come out, and it was supposed to deal with the crime world of Coruscant that had never been seen before. And then when Disney bought it out, because the game was in trouble anyway, because it kept getting pushed back and pushed back and pushed back, and they canceled like all the gaming projects. So I mean, it's always disappointing when because I don't really know that much about the game, but I know a lot of people were looking forward to it. So having a game like that always gets canceled sucks.
Yeah, it does. But I'm hoping that when Platinum Games comes out, they give a good explanation, and I'm sure it will be because Platinum Games is a pretty big company, and they wouldn't just box up a game just to box it up. So, guys, if you were excited for this game, I'm sure that sooner or later between Platinum Games and Microsoft, we will be getting some kind of explanation, hopefully.
Yeah,
you never know.
Yeah, for sure. Now, something that we talked about last week, and I guess what will now be forever known as the lost episode, because we had technical difficulties. I started playing an older game, but a game that I enjoyed nonetheless so far. I finally started playing Uncharted, the very first one.
What are your thoughts on it?
So far, I love it. It has that adventure Indiana Jones type feel to it. I'm very, very early in the game.
Yeah.
But so far, I can tell that I'm really going to like the story and the character development, especially with Nathan and Sully, and their interaction is really good so far. I love fun adventure movies, and that's what this feels like so far. Because for Christmas, I had got a GameStop gift card.
Yeah.
And I was just looking at GameStop in the mall one day and just happened to see it. And I was like, well, this is only $20. And I got a $50 gift card. So I was like, oh, why not? So bought it. I haven't been able to play it in like almost 2 weeks now, but hopefully, this week I'll be able to play a little bit more of it.
Yeah, anytime I hear someone talking about the game, I hear them mention that it does have that Indiana Jones feel to it. And from Let's Plays and gameplays that I've watched, because I personally haven't got to play it either, and it's a game that I want to play once I get a PlayStation. I got a lot of catching up to do with these other systems. But the world looks amazing, and I know sometimes the controls are a little rough around the edges, but all in all, from everybody I've talked to and what I've seen, it just looks fun.
Oh, it does. It's a lot of fun so far, and like I said, I can't wait to get more into it.
Yeah.